Man, you ever notice how there's this weird, almost mysterious force that keeps Muslims connected across the entire planet? I'm talking continents, races, languages, accents, countries that don't even like each other politically, but the people still feel like one giant extended family. And look, I've sat across from all kinds of folks in the studio: fighters, monks, scientists, astronauts, tribesmen, and there's always this one thing that stands out when a Muslim guest starts describing the Ummah. It's not nationalism, it's not some club, it's not a fandom. It's something way deeper, almost like a built-in human software that activates the moment someone says Assalamu alaikum. Suddenly you're not strangers anymore. You're synced up, like some ancient Wi-Fi signal that's been broadcasting for 1,400 years. And I'm sitting there thinking, damn, how does that even work? Because you'd think with all the wars, the borders, the passports, the totally different cultures, from Indonesia to Morocco to Canada, people would be fragmented as hell. But somehow they're not. Somehow there's this global heartbeat, this shared rhythm that keeps them linked. I've seen clips where two Muslims who've never met in their entire lives bump into each other in an airport in China or an alley in Brazil, and the moment they realize they share the same faith, boom, instant brotherhood. No warm-up, no trust-building exercise, nothing. It's like seeing someone from your home planet when you thought you were the last survivor. And I'm trying to wrap my head around how a community can stay that cohesive when literally everything in the world is designed to divide people. Social media divides you, news divides you, politics divides you, culture divides you, even food divides people. But Islam somehow punches straight through all of it and says, nah, we're one unit, one ummah, and the crazy part is, it's not even theoretical. It's something you can see. You walk into a mosque anywhere in the world, and it's the same structure, same rows, same direction, same words, same movements. A billionaire and a janitor flatten the same ground with their forehead. That's wild, man. Tell me another system, ideology, philosophy, whatever, that can pull that off. Because humans are tribal as hell. We love sorting ourselves into categories. But the moment Muslims line up for prayer, those categories evaporate. Skin tone, gone. Accent, doesn't matter. Last name, irrelevant. Social status, doesn't even register. There's something almost rebellious about that in today's world. It's like Islam is breaking every social hierarchy humans tried to build, saying, no, none of that garbage. Stand shoulder to shoulder. You're equals. I had this moment once watching this documentary clip, just stumbled on it at 3 a.m. like you do, and it showed the Hajj. Millions of people moving like one organism. Every race, every language, every kind of face you can imagine. If aliens landed and saw that, they wouldn't even know these people came from different nations. They'd think it was one civilization. And I'm thinking, holy hell, that's unity at a scale humans shouldn't even be capable of. This is the same species that argues over pineapple on pizza, and here they are circling the Kaaba in perfect synchronicity like a giant human galaxy. What really blows my mind is how the unity isn't just ritual, it's emotional. You talk to Muslims from completely different corners of the world, and ask them about the suffering of other Muslims they've never met, and they feel it. Not sympathy. Sympathy is cheap. This is something like family-level pain, like they're wired together. You hear a Syrian guy in Germany crying over the struggles of people in Gaza. You see a Senegalese woman praying for people in Turkey after an earthquake. You watch a Malaysian kid raising funds for a Yemeni family he'll never meet. Nobody's organizing these emotions. There's no central command center telling millions of people, hey, care about this. It just happens, automatic, organic. And you ask them, how do you feel so connected to people you don't know? And they look at you like you're asking why fire is hot. They're like, because they're my brothers and sisters. No explanation, no qualifiers, just this raw certainty. It's such a foreign yet beautiful concept to the modern world, where everyone is told to think individually, live individually, survive individually. Islam basically rejects that whole system and says, nope, your identity isn't solo, you're part of a global body. If one part hurts, the whole body feels it. That's not just poetic. That's a psychological architecture that somehow still works even in the age of hyper-individualistic culture. And I get it, some people from the outside hear Ummah and they think it's some rigid, exclusive tribe. But when you actually talk to Muslims, you realize it's more like a global safety net. A place where you're never truly alone because somewhere out there are millions of people who would see you as their own, just because you share a direction of prayer. That's so primal it almost feels ancestral. like something humans were designed for but forgot somewhere along the way. But Muslims didn't forget, they preserved it. And the wildest part is, when you start talking to Muslims about where they're from, you realize how insanely diverse this community is. Like, you've got people in West Africa who've been Muslim for 1,000 years, people in China whose ancestors practiced Islam before Europe even knew the religion existed, people in Bosnia, people in the Maldives, people in the Amazon rainforest, people in the Arctic Circle, and they all share the same core identity. Try finding that anywhere else. Even Christianity, which is huge, has different denominations that don't even agree on fundamental stuff. Same with Buddhism, same with Hinduism, same with politics. Everything fractures. But Islam is like, here's the blueprint, don't change it, don't remix it, don't create your own patch notes. And because of that, the unity never collapses. It's like this crystal structure that stays intact no matter how much pressure the world throws at it. And you know what else is crazy? The language thing. Bro, Muslims in Indonesia and Muslims in Saudi Arabia might not understand one word of each other's native languages, but they're both reciting the exact same Arabic verses every single day. Who else has that? And look, we're not talking about some tiny group. We're talking billions. You could drop a Muslim from New York straight into a prayer line in Uganda, or Uzbekistan, or Sri Lanka, and they wouldn't miss a beat. They'd know exactly what to do, what to say, where to stand. It's like this global operating system that every Muslim is running, no matter what country they downloaded it from. And then there's the thing nobody ever talks about, the emotional discipline that comes with that unity. Because it's one thing to say we're united. It's another thing to have structural habits, actual daily practices that reinforce that unity over and over. 5 times a day, Muslims around the world stop whatever they're doing and align themselves in the same direction. Billionaires, mechanics, athletes, grandmothers, taxi drivers, kids, it's like they all pause the simulation at the same time. You don't realize how insane that is until you zoom out. Imagine if all humans everywhere just stopped and synced up 5 times daily. You'd see the whole world differently. And I think that's why Muslims feel connected in a way that's hard to explain to people who haven't lived it. Because it's not just an idea, they're practicing unity in real time every day. Most people don't even practice unity with their neighbors, man. People don't even know the name of the guy living on the other side of their wall. But Muslims feel connected to someone thousands of miles away. And that isn't an accident. That's not coincidence. That's engineering. That's design. And you see that design kick in whenever there's a crisis. Someone loses a job, someone passes away, someone's struggling, and suddenly the whole community shows up. People bring food. People offer money. People help with funerals. People help with rent. And none of it is transactional. Nobody's asking what they're getting out of it. That's what makes it so different. It's not charity because charity still implies a giver and receiver. This is family. Help isn't a favor, it's a responsibility. And the more you see it, the more you realize that unity isn't just spiritual, it's practical. It literally affects how people live. And I've had guests on the podcast mention this thing that always sticks with me. They'll say, when I travel, I never feel like a stranger. And that's wild, because modern life makes you feel like a stranger almost everywhere. But a Muslim can land in a random village in the middle of a country they've never heard of, walk into a mosque, and instantly feel at home. Someone will offer them tea. Someone will show them a place to sleep. Someone will feed them. That's a level of hospitality that's built into the DNA of the religion. It's not even about individual personalities, it's about a global standard. And it's beautiful, because it's genuinely rare in this world. And I start thinking, what if more people had something like that? Not necessarily the religion itself, but that sense of belonging, that sense of being part of something bigger than yourself. I feel like so many of the problems people deal with today, depression, loneliness, anxiety, feeling disconnected, they come from not having a tribe, not having a structure, not having a community that actually cares. But Muslims, even the ones who feel alone, still know they're part of something massive. Even if they're struggling, they know there's a place where they belong. That kind of psychological safety is like armor in a world that's constantly trying to tear you apart. And you talk to converts, people who weren't born into the religion, and they'll tell you the unity of the Ummah is one of the first things that hits them. They'll say it felt like I suddenly had family everywhere. Imagine that. You go from being one person to being part of a billion-person network overnight. That has to do something to your brain. That has to change how you move in the world. And for a lot of them, it heals something. that loneliness modern society breeds? Islam cracks its shell wide open. And then there's this other layer that just fascinates me, the way Muslims see each other beyond the whole nation-state thing. Because modern society is obsessed with borders. Like, we draw imaginary lines on maps. And suddenly people on one side think they're a different species from the people on the other side. But when Muslims talk, you notice they don't think in those categories first. Their primary identity isn't the country on their passport, it's the Ummah. That's a powerful psychological shift, because when you remove borders from your mind, your compassion expands, your responsibility expands, you stop seeing the world as us versus them, and it becomes, we're all part of this one body. And it's not like Muslims don't love their countries, of course they do. But the unity goes deeper than patriotism. It hits that spiritual level where people feel connected before they even speak. You see this a lot in international settings. Airports, universities, sports tournaments. Two Muslims meet, realize they share the same faith, and suddenly they're helping each other like cousins. Offering directions, sharing food, giving advice, even protecting each other. I've seen videos of Muslim strangers forming prayer lines in crazy places, on sidewalks, parking lots, beaches, train stations, and it always blows my mind how coordinated they are without planning anything. Everybody just knows what to do. Everybody just falls into position. It's like muscle memory, but for unity. And honestly, in a world where everyone's constantly shouting about identity, labels, categories, this whole thing is kind of refreshing. Because the Ummah cuts through all that noise. You can be black, white, brown, Asian, Arab, Latino, doesn't matter. You can speak Arabic, Urdu, Swahili, French, Turkish, Somali, English, Malay. It still doesn't matter. You're still part of the same family. And you see that most clearly in Friday prayers. That's when the community gathers, and suddenly all the differences melt. You look around the room and it's like watching a live documentary on human diversity. And yet every single person is moving in unison. Every forehead touches the same floor. You can't fake that kind of equality. You can't manufacture that on a political stage. It's something spiritual, something ancient, something programmed deep inside, and there's something so powerful about having a shared direction, literally. The Qibla. Think about how symbolic that is. No matter where you are on Earth, you turn your body toward the same point as a billion others. You align physically with strangers who might be thousands of miles away. That's unity on a cosmic scale. Humans were never meant to feel isolated. We function best when we're connected to something greater, when we're part of a network. And Islam gives Muslims that network in the most practical, tactile way possible. It's not just belief, it's alignment, it's movement, it's language, it's ritual, it's discipline, and it's daily. That's why it sticks. Another wild thing is how this unity survives conflict. You'd think geopolitical differences would split Muslims apart. And sure, countries disagree politically, but the people, the actual individuals, don't let that destroy their spiritual link. I've met people who grew up in communities where Muslims from countries that were technically enemies still prayed together, still ate together, still supported each other. And that's when you realize political tension is surface level. The Ummah is deeper. It's like an underground river flowing beneath all the noise on the surface. And no matter how loud the noise gets, that river keeps moving. And you can see it in the spiritual psychology too. When Muslims pray in congregation, the Prophet's words teach them to stand shoulder to shoulder. Close the gaps, straighten the lines. And when you think about that, it's such a perfect metaphor for how communities should be. No gaps, no spaces for division. Everyone equal, everyone connected, everyone on the same level. And the more you watch it, the more it starts feeling like a blueprint for how humans could operate if they weren't, constantly distracted by ego and identity politics. But the unity isn't just in rituals, it's in how Muslims think about humanity. The idea that every soul is sacred, that justice isn't optional, that compassion is a requirement. Muslims are taught that if someone is hungry, it's the community's responsibility. If someone is grieving, you comfort them. If someone is oppressed, you stand with them. These aren't suggestions, they're obligations. And when millions of people follow the same moral code, of course that creates unity. It's like everyone is trained to prioritize empathy over everything else. And that empathy becomes global. You hear a Muslim from one side of the world say, "Those people are my brothers and sisters," and they mean it. Not metaphorically, Not figuratively, literally. I remember watching this interview where a guy from the UK was talking about Muslims suffering in a totally different part of the world, and he broke down crying like he lost a family member. And that's when it hit me, that unity isn't just some nice religious phrase, it's lived, it's embodied, it's in the bloodstream, it shapes the way people feel, think, react, and connect. And the more you dig into it, the more you realize this unity isn't just accidental, it's intentional. Islam was built with this architecture that forces humans to break the barriers they naturally build between each other. Humans love cliques. Humans love groups. Humans love saying, this is my side and that's your side. But Islam keeps pulling you out of that mindset. You can't pray without standing next to strangers. You can't fast without thinking of people who have less. You can't give charity without imagining the suffering of someone far away. You can't go to Hajj without confronting the reality that the world is so much bigger than your tiny personal bubble. You're constantly being placed in situations that remind you you're part of something massive. You're part of a species that's supposed to be united, not splintered. And honestly, I think that's why so many people who study Islam from the outside are shocked by the level of cohesion Muslims have, because in the modern world, everything is designed to make you feel like an individual unit floating alone. It's like society is engineered to isolate you. Work alone, scroll alone, stress alone, chase goals alone. But Muslims, they're always plugged into this global circuit, always connected, always tuned in, always aware that somewhere in the world someone is praying like them, fasting like them, hoping like them. That creates this deep-rooted psychological resilience that's hard to break. It's like spiritual armor you wear without realizing it. You see it in Ramadan most clearly. The entire planet syncs up. Billions of people adjusting their entire lives, sleep, food, routine, just to align with each other. Think about how insane that is. We can't get 5 people in a room to agree on pizza toppings, but a billion Muslims can agree on when to stop eating every morning. And then at sunset, they all break their fast together. That's not just ritual. That's human synchronization on a level that blows your mind. And the emotional energy during Ramadan? Bro, it's like the whole Ummah is plugged into one giant battery. People become softer, kinder, more generous, more aware of each other's struggles. It's the ultimate reset button for unity. Even the smallest things reinforce this bond. A Muslim walking down the street sees another Muslim and says salam, and suddenly there's this instant connection. 2 strangers, but not really strangers. It's like a verbal handshake that means I see you, you're one of mine, and it keeps happening day after day everywhere on earth. You go to a barber shop in Turkey, or a tea stall in Pakistan, or a mosque in London, or a market in Nigeria, and the energy is the same. The greeting is the same, the warmth is the same, the feeling of belonging is the same. People underestimate how powerful that consistency is. Humans crave familiarity, and Muslims get that familiarity from people they've never even met. And then there's this beautiful thing where Muslims feel responsible for each other even across generations. Like you'll meet older Muslims who talk about the younger generation with this almost parental concern. They'll say things like, may God guide them, or they're our future. That's not normal in most societies. Most people just worry about their own kids. But Muslims worry about the entire youth of the Ummah. That's a level of unity that stretches across time, not just geography. It's like they're all part of a long, unbroken chain. The past holds the present, and the present holds the future. And the more I think about it, the more it becomes clear why Islam survived every empire, every war, every political shift, every cultural change, every attack, every misunderstanding. Because unity is a shield. When a community feels like a single organism, you can't break them by cutting off one part. The rest will carry it. The rest will protect it. The rest will rise around it. That's why the Ummah feels so indestructible, not in a physical sense, but in that deep, spiritual, emotional sense that keeps people tied together no matter how loud the outside chaos gets. And I think that's why the unity of the Ummah hits people so hard when they encounter it for the first time. It's not like anything else in the world. You see 1 billion people who don't look the same, don't talk the same, don't eat the same, don't dress the same, but somehow, deep inside, they're the same tribe, the same pulse, the same direction, the same identity. And even if you're not Muslim, you can't help but respect that. You can't help but look at it and think, damn, that's what humans were supposed to be like. Connected, compassionate, united, a family without borders, a community without walls, a global heartbeat that refuses to fade,